In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to remove blemishes and smooth skin using Camera Raw. These features are fairly powerful and they're really easy to use. In the course, there's just below where this link is to this video, there's this file that's 6502. I think I click here to download the file. You should right click on it and then save it to your desktop or to the file where you want to save it, maybe to my pictures folder. And then you can open it from Bridge. And here I have it in Bridge in a collections for my demos. I'm going to double click right here to open it in Camera Raw, and notice it because it was a CR2 file, I didn't have to right click and choose open in Camera Raw. I could just double click on it and Camera Raw automatically opens here in the Creative Cloud. And here is my friend Steve, and I'm going to make some quick basic adjustments. I'm going to press auto because I think that does a pretty good job of it. I'm going to change it so it uses a flash, so we just warm up the temperature a little bit. But that's not what I was going to do. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to Steve's forehead, and he has some, he's getting in his 50s, and he has a few spots here. I'm going to control minus once so we can see the pixels better. I don't know if that helps, but I'm going to go control plus one and get it to 100%. Now I want to get rid of some of these spots and a few of these moles, some of the age spots and a few moles. It's no offense to Steve, but some people like to have these things removed, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to use this brush right here called the spot removal brush. Notice you have all these tools right here. I'm going to use this spot removal brush. Now, when you use brushes in Photoshop and Raw and Lightroom, they're the bracket keys next to the P on your keyboard, whether you're using a Mac or Windows machine. If I hit the right bracket, it makes the brush bigger. If I hit the left bracket, it reduces the size. We can also use these sliders over here to move it, and then change the opacity. That's whether it's opaque or not, of the result that we do. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger than that mole, and then I'm going to click once. And notice how there's this link. What Raw is doing is it's saying, okay, this is the area you want changed. I'm going to find an area that doesn't have any blemish. It's pretty clean. And I'm going to copy and paste this area over to this, but still try to make it look natural. So I'm going to do it with this little spot right here, and it's found another spot for it to copy and paste from. I'm going to just nail this spot. I'm going to reduce the brush a little bit because I don't want to use it too big. Now we have this kind of area right here. It looks like an age spot or maybe some old freckles or something. I'm going to just drag over this area, and notice it finds an area that's pretty clean. But as you do that, this is a thing that you got to be careful with, because now we get this pattern that shows up in two places. Notice we have these two spots right here. It copied from here and put them up here. So I'm going to do something else right here. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. I'm going to just click on another spot or two. But then I'm going to reduce my brush, come over here, and I'm going to click on that and have it remove those copies that it did. I don't really like that one. By the way, you got to be careful on spots like this, because if we do that, it makes a break in the hair, and it looks obvious that you did that. We can work in Photoshop later on to fix those things. We're just going to nail this little blem, and that one, and that one. I'm holding spacebar down to that hand appears, and I can click and drag with my mouse while I'm holding down the spacebar. So that's how I'm moving from one place to another. So I'm just going to hit a few of these other spots on this dome. So notice again, remember I'm moving, holding spacebar down right now, and I'm going to drag down here. Let's get that little sword that he has right there. And maybe that. Spacebar again, and then we have a few of these like old freckles or something. And once we get up close, we can see those whiskers that he missed when he shaved, or like some slight shaving blems. I don't think he expected me to take his picture this day that I took it. Probably wouldn't appreciate me having him here online. Oh, let's get this little spot. And we're almost done with what I want to do. I'm going to go Control-0 on my keyboard. And if I go to the zoom tool, let's just zoom in on his head. And notice how we're missing a lot of those things. A lot of those things that we had before. Now, we're not quite done yet with what we're going to do in this lesson. Now, I want to show you how to smooth the skin, and this is really easy. Now, in the past, you used to have to open up Photoshop and do this whole thing with a mask, but where you'd have to be careful not to blur the edges. You'd have to set this area so it would only affect, when you'd add a blur, it would only affect areas that didn't have clear lines or boundaries on it. But the people at Adobe came up with this thing right here where you can just adjust this clarity bar. And notice how the edges, like his hair, still remains pretty. You can see even those little hairs like up in here as I move that clarity bar to the left. Some of them start vanishing after if I go too far. But you can still see his eyes and the lines around his eyes and stuff. Now, if you go too far, of course, that looks just silly. But if we go, I'll go back to 0, just double click on that, and we can see his wrinkles and his blemishes pretty good. But if we just move it over just to 29 or so, it smooths out the skin, but we don't lose the details in the eyes and like the line for the glasses and his hair. We can still see the hair pretty clearly, and it makes things look pretty good. He's much prettier now than he was just a few minutes ago. Not that there's anything wrong with him before, but anyways, that's a way to do some really quick repairing some blemishes on the skin and then smoothing the skin so it gives a younger or a more clear skin look. And that's it for this portion.